This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Life is hard sometimes, and there are many pathways in navigating the inevitable ups and downs of life. In riding these waves, I look to my yoga practice and also therapy. We all go through tough times like big life changes, periods of instability, conflict, or loss. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist entirely online, which is very convenient, flexible, and suited to fit your schedule. Take the questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist. And if it's not the right match for you, no worries. You can change your therapist for no additional charge. Sometimes getting started in therapy is the hardest part. To make it a little bit easier, go to the link provided in the show notes or go to visit betterhelp.com/yoga and podcast today to get 10% off your first month. Welcome, friends, to Yoga and Podcast. This show highlights the science and brings the magic of yoga and mind-body practices down to earth for the everyday person to help you live your best life. I'm your host, Ashley Weber, a yoga and Pilates teacher and forever student who is oh so curious about all things yoga and. I'm super excited to share with you this upcoming conversation. Now, let's sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode, y'all. Joining us on today's episode, she is a feminist, rocket and vinyasa yoga teacher born in Mexico and is now based in Austin, Texas. Please welcome to the show, Liberty Torres. Hey, Liberty, how are you today?
Hi, I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. This is so exciting and a little nerve-wracking.
Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit more and share who you are in the world of yoga?
Yes. So I am Liberty. It's been said, I'm from Mexico. I like to label, if anything, or call myself a cat mom, a feminist, queer woman, a little bit of a wild soul, and as my wife will say, a witchy, crazy woman too. So there's that. And in the world of yoga, I will say I've been doing yoga for the last 10 plus years.
Oh, wow.
So I've been in the practice for a while, but as a teacher, I'm a newbie. I've just been teaching for the last almost 2 years. And in the world of yoga, as a teacher, I like to consider myself someone that brings challenge and flow, tries to bring the same in one sequence. I like to make my students feel empowered. I want to be a teacher. I want to be the teacher that there was not for me when I started in yoga, which is someone that is approachable, friendly, inclusive. I don't know, like I remember when I started yoga, it felt like you were down here and then the yoga instructor was in front of, like, just telling you what to do, and at the end of the class, like, you couldn't even like look at her eyes or stuff. And I don't want to be that. I'm very bad with names, but I want to be someone that remembers your name and makes you feel welcome and gives you feedback, tips, tells you how good you did, and just makes you want to come back. Yeah.
Well, so we met you did a queer yoga event in Austin, and my girlfriend and I went to it. My girlfriend has never done yoga before.
Really?
And she did everything. But you totally, that came across. Like, you really do care. You really are a people person. It's not this guru complex, I guess.
Yes,
Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah.
And I feel like now it's not as bad as it was before, because I started, like I said, 10 years ago. 10 years ago, it was, I mean, like, I will say I do yoga and many people will be like, what is that? Like, it was still not that known as of now. And now it's a little bit better. I also feel the fact that I am from Mexico, that I went practicing to studios here in the United States that were very white-based. I was seen as a foreign, like an outsider. And I feel like that also my English was, I mean, still not great, but it was something that I feel like there was a lot of barrier. I never feel welcome.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And now I want everyone to feel welcome.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, you did a beautiful job of that the day that of queer yoga. We really loved it. Let's talk about feminism. What does feminism mean to you on a personal level?
I will say that feminism is one of the biggest things in my life. I feel that I had no option but to be a feminist. And I feel like if people are aware of what feminism really is, everyone's going to choose to be a feminist. There's no logical explanation why you want to be against that. You either are or you're ignorant, like you just don't know what it is. And you think it's something against you, whoever you are. For me, being born and raised in Mexico, it was like very early on, I started noting how just being a woman was an act of survival in that society. Women get killed, abused, harassed, oppressed. So it was something like, wait, what's going on? Why is this happening to us? And at the same time, I started noticing how I was conditioned to stay quiet, make yourself respectable. Like if I need to do something to be respected and not just be respected for who I am already. And, you know, like the girls don't talk about periods, dress properly, and serve the food to your father. And like you have to clean, your dad is sleeping in, don't be loud. And it was just like, no. So that's when I was like, okay, this is not what I want. And I was like, why is it like this? And that's when I started realizing that, oh, there's patriarchy and there's feminism and there's all these rules that are in the world. And so that was the first time that I was like, okay, there's something that I don't feel quite comfortable. I don't like how it is. How can we change it? Then later on, when I was in college, we took this women's studies class. And the book for the class was the Everybody Should Be a Feminist by Bell Hooks.
Oh,
have you read it?
I have not read it. I mean, I admit I have not read it, but I want to read it. It's on the list.
It's one of the books that changed, like from them on. It was like the life before this book, the life after this book. It was such a really good book. Super easy to read too, not that big. Like, I mean, I had to read it slowly within the course of the school, but I felt like I was enjoying that I could have like just read it in a sit. But so yeah, that was what gave me the tools and the education and more the background of what feminism really is, how it's so important, how the different systems are interconnected, and how like the importance of making a change, that this change is not gonna, like, it's not about making women better or stronger or putting them as CEOs. It's like studying and probably changing all of the systems that it affects racism, classes, like everything, like education, everything is affected by it. So I just feel like if we all became feminist, the world would just be like different. I mean, everything, like even from behaving all the way to like taking care of the planet, it will be better if we just had a little bit more consciousness on that side.
Yeah. Wow. That is so beautifully put. Let's talk about, I want to talk more about feminism and how it relates to yoga, but let's talk about yoga and how it might have changed your life. Because there was a life before yoga and then now you're in it.
Yes, that's the other thing that changed my life. That book and yoga.
Oh, yes, please share.
Yes, and when I had my cat. Okay. Yoga. So I started yoga, like I said, like over 10 years ago, 11 years ago. And it was just something that I liked. It felt good. I will do it every once in a while. It was always like non-constant. I will do it for 3 months and then a whole month break. And then I'll do it for a month and then 3 months break. Or like, it was just never constant, but it was always something that I was coming back to. I never know why, but it was something that all of a sudden, like, oh, I need yoga. Like I was always called back to it. Then I developed an eating disorder back in 2000. I don't even remember. It was like 6-7 years ago, I think, maybe more. And I got into a point in which I needed to work out all the time, every day. So I will do, I don't know if you heard of the insanity workout.
I've heard of those.
Yeah. Like it was so old, super intense. So I will do that. And then I'll go biking and then I'll go running. And then when I couldn't do more, but I still wanted to do more, I would do yoga because it was the less intense, but it still made me feel that I was working out, like quote unquote. But then it was the one only exercise that actually made me feel better after doing it. All the other ones were depleting me, like getting me tired and stuff. And yoga was actually like making me feel good and at peace and, you know, this good feeling. I never knew what it was. Now I know that the whole breathing, the whole lengthening, the whole being present, the trying to not force your body into stuff, which I did because of my eating disorder. But anyways, I feel that at some point yoga became the thing that saved me. Not too long ago, I learned that like yoga, an eating disorder, it's considered an addiction. An addiction to wanting to have control, and the one thing that we think we can have control is food. So, and the opponent, the different thing, the thing against addiction will be connection. And yoga is literally connection.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I never put that together. Addiction and connection is what can heal that.
Because like, addiction, people think like, oh, you have an addiction, you need sobriety.
Yeah.
But no, addiction needs connection, because if you're addicted to something, it's because something's missing. You're trying to fill that void with something else. Either being eating disorder, either being
too much TV,
alcohol, sex, cigarettes, whatever. Like you are lacking some sort of connection with something else or within yourself. For me, it was within myself. I couldn't really feel when I was hungry. I couldn't feel when I was tiring myself, when I was not listening to myself. In yoga, with the breathing, with the movement, with the staying present, helped me connect with myself. And then it was, like I started doing yoga because it was a workout. Then I continued doing yoga because I realized that I could do like fun, cool poses. Then I kept doing yoga because it made me feel good doing those poses. And then I started taking care of my body, because if I want to keep doing those quote unquote cool poses, I needed to feed my body properly. I needed to make my body safe. I needed to not harm my body. So it just turned my way upside down. And now I do it because I love myself. And I feel so grateful for the body that I have and all it can do. And I don't see my body as what it looks like, but all that it is within itself. So I think in that case, that's what yoga changed my life.
So yoga was a pathway to reach love for yourself, or in connection with yourself?
Love, connection, empowerment too. I feel like I was someone that saw myself as too little, too small, not good enough. I was always bullied when I was a kid. Oh yeah. Oh. And this like made me feel like, like now I don't feel like I want to fight back. It's just like, oh, I want to like love back and be back with other people. And I don't feel threatened by others, even when they're mean. I just like try to like, how they say, like this is this Bible thing, like you give the other cheek.
Yes, turn the other cheek. Yeah.
I'm not a pro-Bible person, but I was raised like Catholic, so I never heard things like that.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about feminism and the Bible. Let's talk about the commonality between yoga and feminism. Is there a common thread for you?
There definitely is. There's so many, like all from like going from the fact that yoga can be something that is very, like sadly, at least in the Western society, very body based at some point. How like do this diet, like even like the clothing, like if there's certain brands that they won't have clothes, like the XL, it's like medium size in real life or stuff like that. That's a way that it's oppressing women. Like, and that's like, it's just the whole brand. You don't see women representation or all body types representation, all gender types representation. It's just like very narrowed. I feel like now it's a little bit better than before, but that's a way in which bringing the awareness of feminism can impact yoga, and bringing the awareness of yoga can impact feminism, meaning I feel like yoga is the one quote unquote exercise that won't have teams, like, women team, boys teams and stuff like that. It's not a gender-based thing. It's not something about putting men and women apart, one better to the other, or it's not about competing either. It's just about coming in and feeling within, and like the magic of your body from the inside, not from how it looks outside and what the gender norms are, because of however your body was, the body that you were born in with. Also, another thing is like, I feel like in this society, patriarchy combined with capitalism has made it for women, and people in general, for women in particular, to be like, if you get this pair of pants, if you lose this one more inch, if you buy this other thing, if you're the prettiest in the room, if you're the hottest in the room, if you go there, then you'll have it. In yoga, it's about like, you are already great. You have it all. Don't go there. You don't need anything else. What you have right now, whatever it is, that's already great. And And it's a way to empower people. And this is the same, I'm saying it as for like women or people that identify the same of women, but for men, it's all the same. Like, like if you get this promotion, if you get this new car, if you have this many women, it's like we're always trying to consume, get more, go somewhere else, when like in reality, like yoga is telling you here right now, however it is, it's great already. See within, no matter, you don't have to achieve something else outside. It's all, you already have it all within yourself. And I think feminism, like that's a core value of feminism. Like, like we want to empower people from within, not having to demand them to do anything else that they don't want. We want people to ask themselves like what they need from within themselves, to be aware of, to do some self-study and find the love within themselves, not anywhere else. So
that's beautifully put. So yeah, the internal work of knowing that you are enough, that you don't need that nail polish or that extra spandex spank. Yeah, I think that's beautiful.
Yeah. And just like connecting it all together, like I just, that's.
Well, I want to know your thoughts on feminism and within the queer space.
That's a good one. I think that's actually very connected. I feel most of our stronger feminist people will be fine within the queer community. And it's mostly because us queer people, since the beginning, we were already like, wait, what do you mean I have to accord to this body? Like, what do you mean I'm limited to or forced to because of the way that I was born in, instead of because of what I feel driven to do or attracted to do or to feel or to express or be or anything. So I feel like us queer people, since very early on, started like questioning the norms and ways of being. And I feel like feminism tries to break all of those norms of ways of being. And it's not just about men and women. It's that like I said, like feminism, I feel like has to be intersectional, which it has to tackle and work with all of the other spectrums or labels or places that they put us in, like like men, women, Black, white, Latino, non-Latino, like all of that is affected, and all of that asks you to be in a certain way when you shouldn't. Like feminism is about freedom, just like yoga is about freedom, queerness is about being freedom. So it's like just being free. Like my dad put me my name Libertad for a good reason.
That is a great insight. What do you think gets misunderstood about feminism?
I feel that, well, first, I hate how they call them radical crazy feminists.
I know.
It's just like,
or man haters.
Exactly. This is not to put women on top of men and women are best and men. No, like feminism is also a fight for men. I mean, like feminism also wants to bring the power of the feminine and masculine energy, which masculine is, at least in yoga, is represented as masculine energy is action, feminine energy is more feelings. And we need both of them. In yoga, you need both of them. In life, you need both of them. And in society, we need the masculine energy to have more feminine energy, meaning we need men to be more connected to their feelings, to their emotions, to be more lovable. They are trained to be a strong boy, be a good boy, fight back and stuff like that. Like there's so many the rates of societal are higher for men because they don't go to therapy, they don't work on themselves, they think that they are not allowed to have emotions, and they are expected to just deliver and give. When no, like they also can be gentle with themselves, can take love with themselves, can ask for help, can be vulnerable. And as women, we were so put into just be vulnerable, just be sensitive. Like you cannot have rage, you cannot take action. Like we are very divided, and we actually need a little bit of both of them. So this is a fight for the two of us and everything in within. And so I feel like that's the biggest thing. That also that the biggest thing is that this is not a fight just for women. Also, I've heard for me, I feel like the trans community and non-binary community is very important within the feminist movement. And I've also heard comments about, eventually there's not gonna be any more men or women or anything like that. It's just everything's gonna be like queer something. And I'm like, no, like we were always there. All people are so different colors and shapes and everything were always there. They were just silent. So
exactly. It's always been that.
Yeah, it's not like feminism is just an ideology that just started like, I don't know, 40, 50 years ago, and nothing like before all of women were well behaved and everything. No, before women were actually killed. They were silenced in a more brutal way. Trans people were killed. With the witches that you say that were witches, they were just feminist empowering women that they saw out of the box and they just put them on fire. So it's I think that's the one thing. Like if it's a movement that it just all of a sudden started by some crazy woman that want to have power, no, it's been there. Now we're just not being killed. We're having some more voice, more power. We're connecting with more people, and we want this to be for everyone, not just for men.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. And then you're saying when one group's repressed, everyone's repressed.
Yes. Yeah.
And that is a good point. So we have people who teach yoga who listen to this show. How would you suggest incorporating feminism into yoga teaching?
That's a hard one.
It's hard.
It is hard. It's funny, because like I identify myself as a feminist, but like then we're like, okay, what are the actions every day that you're doing to be who you are? I mean, I know I do it, but like now, like trying to say it, it's a little tricky. For me, it will be empowering people, giving them the space to being able to be assertive and forming them. I feel like one of the things in yoga, like, like sometimes people think that yoga is all peace and love and being zen and no, like I feel like yoga is also a way of social justice. And I can't remember how it was, but I remember my teacher training, I was being taught the Bhagavad Gita, and my teacher, who was a very knowledgeable Indian woman, she said something about like yoga is not just to be at peace. Sometimes yoga is about taking action. And she read a part of the Bhagavad Gita in which it was like some people were designed to bring the peace, some people were designed to bring the fight, because the fight eventually will bring peace too. So I feel like for me, I like to be very vocal about the fight or the social cause about feminism within the yoga space. I try to bring awareness on, like I'm very connected and very, the eating disorder is something very close to me. So I'm very aware of never making people feel less because of the body that they have. I try to have more gender neutral words for people. And I was like, hi women, hi men. I no, it's like friends.
Inclusive language.
Inclusive language.
Yes.
Yeah, like never like doing it one way or the other. It's also this thing said that men have better, stronger upper body, women have wider hips or stuff like that. And I guess there's some anatomical explanation for that, but I try not to bring that into my classes. I'm just like, you are strong. These are the drills that you can do. This is how you get it, no matter who's good. Like it's about like, because if you put it, men are like this, women are like that. Like first you let a whole other group that doesn't identify with those two things. Then you start comparing and dividing humans. So
good point.
I think like just not saying things like that, being inclusive, just teaching them how to grow and accept it, teaching them to accept where they are right now, empowering them, showing them where they can go if they just keep showing up and listening to their bodies. I think that's one way. But I always try to bring a lot of a sisterhood vibe in the spaces. Sisterhood, I said sisterhood because that's just how it's coming out for me right now. But I am not including any other person that is not considered a woman in this. But it is true that now apparently it's shifted from yoga being only for men, that now the majority of people practicing yoga is women. So like maybe that's also another way that we can do it.
That's really interesting. That's true.
Yeah.
Yoga used to be for men and now, or only for men.
Yoga
And
was
women were
designed
not
by
allowed.
men. Yeah. And I had a student that's just like, oh my God, there's men in the class. It's like, this is exciting. I'm like, do you know that long time ago, like there was actually no women in the place?
Yeah.
But
That's mind blowing. Yeah.
Yes.
So Liberty,
Yeah.
who is your feminist idol?
As like for famous people that are coming to my mind right away, one of them is Jamila Jamil. I'm probably saying her name wrong. Yeah, she is mostly known as that tall Indian woman from the show The Good Place.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so she actually in her Instagram handle has a feminist in progress, which I love because it recognizes the fact that we will always be learning, always like keep informing ourselves, and like new information is going to change the way that feminism is portrayed or the fight that we need to fight at the moment. She is very outspoken about body image and body dysmorphia. She also had an eating disorder, so that's something that I connect with her a lot.
Yeah.
She talks a lot. She kind of exposes the media, like the TV media, like all this famous people stuff, how it just like kind of like puts women on top to just put them back down and puts women to fight against each other, which I hate.
Yeah, I hate
like
that.
It's just talking about women's body and like, did they gain weight? Did they lose weight? Like if they gain weight, oh my God, what's going on? If they lose weight, oh my God, they're doing great. Like this is the diet that they're doing. Like no, like what's like, there's no value in that. They don't put value in their words. Also, if they are angry, if they are upset, if they have any other emotion that is not nice and pretty and polite, that's bad for women. And it's like, no, like it's something, actually one of the things that I wanted to say at the beginning about what feminism is for me is also a spiritual / witchy practice in which we honor our bodies, our cycles, our connection with Pachamama, Mother Earth, which is also a huge feminine force. So I feel like that her has some sort of that, which I don't know, it's very connected to me.
Yeah.
Another person that is very that I admire a lot and I like to learn from a lot is Alok. I don't know.
Oh, I love Alok.
I love Alok.
I'm a huge fan of Alok.
They are
wise.
They are
wise.
So exactly so fucking educated.
That's okay.
They're so smart. Like they're a library. They are a library, and and I love how they just fight the fight with love and education. Like how can you not win the fight if you're not bringing anything but education and love? And they just did it the right way. So I really like them too. I'm always listening to their podcast. I'm always like finding out what they're saying and trying to learn from them a lot. And then I like the women in my life that are feminists that I get to sit with and talk about this, and they express when I love when that women will come to me and be like, hey, I was like putting myself down because of this belief that it doesn't matter. Like it's society. It's like whoever outside of myself put me like this. And I was like putting myself down, and now I notice, and now I'm going to change. And it's like,
yes. Yeah. I mean, that like, that empowers me just hearing that.
Yeah. And like, you know, like you talk about it, and then maybe that thing that they realize, they make you think that, oh, I was also telling myself that thing, maybe in a lesser level, but it still is like not empowering, not making me grow. So I love having conversations with women that are realizing when they're putting themselves down and are realizing, and they know how to put themselves up there again. And they support and they listen, and we just cheer each other up, and we allow to be crazy, each other to be crazy and happy and laugh and wild. I love it.
That's wonderful. And that's modeling feminism, right? That's modeling for each other, like, hey, we're not going to get sucked into society's expectations of us.
Yeah. I love that.
I love it.
I think which other, like, I mean, bell hooks, of course. She
changed it.
But yeah, those are my top 3 that I feel like people can look them up and know a little bit about them. Jane Fonda.
I love Jane Fonda. If you were to ask me mine, it would be Jane Fonda.
Yeah,
Like, just
Jane Fonda. Who else?
she's been doing it. Well, I don't even know if she's considered a feminist, but well, she is. Glennon Doyle. I'm a big Glennon Doyle fan. Yeah, I mean, she's many things. I'm sure she considers herself a feminist, but
Totally.
that's who's coming to mind right now. I'm sure if I were to sit down and really think about it, there'd more. But yeah, those are the two.
There's so many. There's actually I don't know. This just came to my mind. There is this woman from Mexico, like many people will think like, oh, feminist woman Mexico, Frida Kahlo. There was this other one. It's called Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. She's not as known.
Okay.
She is from way back then, Frida Kahlo. And I actually know a little bit about her because of my dad, which is very surprisingly, because I will say that my dad is not the greatest expression of feminist helper or ally, but he read this book about this woman, and it was back in a time when women were not allowed to read and not allowed to learn how to anything in Mexico.
Wow.
So the only way that they could learn how to read was by joining the church, like becoming a nun. So she didn't want to be a nun, but she wanted to learn how to read. So she became a nun, and that's how she started getting educated. And one of the things she did, like the more she started getting educated, the more she realized like what she didn't know, kind of like, this quote.
Yeah.
But then she, there's this famous phrase of her, that she actually cut her whole hair off. Like she raped her, like, no, how do you say like?
Shaved.
She shaved her hair, saying like, there's no reason for me to have my head covered in hair if I don't have my head covered in full of ideas and stuff like that. She just like wanted to keep learning, and that was like a representation for all the things that she still needed to learn. And I remember like, I think she was a lesbian too. I might be wrong in that, but she just did like fight or work with what she had in society to be able to get to what she wanted, which is keep learning. And then she realized that there was so much more to learn. And I think like that's really cool. I think like self-study, which is Nanyama from yoga, like just learning, keep studying, keep learning, keep being aware. It's something core value from yoga, from feminism, and just like it's just something great to keep doing for yourself. It's a good way to keep growing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing all this. I love this conversation. How can someone get in touch with you and learn more about your work?
I don't have many ways of getting in touch with me. I'll say like, it's funny. I do have my Instagram, which is where I do most of my work. I used to have a website, but I put it down and I'm working on building it up again. But for now, it's just my Instagram, which is Liberty Yoga. The same Y of liberty is the same Y for yoga. And liberty, like the Statue of Liberty of New York, and or Liber Torres, which is my other personal, but very open to have anyone in that other Instagram. From there, you'll get a link to a little bit more about me and my offerings and stuff. But that will be all. And then just find me in any of the studios that I work on in Austin, or maybe flowing in a park. Or if you're from Austin, Barton Springs is my second home.
Oh, so. Love Barton Springs.
Yeah. Every time that there's a sun, I'll be there.
Well, thank you so much, Liberty, for being on the show.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you all.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you receive value from the show, please write us a 5-star review, or you can text this episode to just one friend who you know will love yoga and podcast. We thank you so much in advance for the huge favor. Word of mouth helps support the show in reaching a greater audience, and we could not grow without you. If you want to connect with us, our email is yogaandpodcast@gmail.com. The and is spelled out YOGAAND podcast@gmail. Please follow us on Instagram at Yoga and Podcast. We are now on TikTok. The handle is also Yoga and Podcast. When you follow us, we will follow you right back on both platforms. Music is by Mama Duke. Graphics, guest booking, and media by me, your host, Ashley Weber. I am so grateful for you. Thank you for listening.